Woman was sad her lover would never meet her mom, then she made this touching discovery. This young woman from Australia knew it from the moment she laid eyes on him. She had found the love of her life. Months later, the passion she felt for him was still as strong as it had been on the first date. There was just one thing nagging at her boyfriend would never be able to meet her mom. And that hurt. The woman, Sarah, loved her mother very much. They were the best of friends and had always done fun things together. They both loved going to the cinema and to amusement parks, where roller coasters were their favorite way to spend the time. When tragedy struck, it came as a surprise to everyone. When Sarah was 7 years old, her mother passed away from liver failure. Doctors could unfortunately not do anything to save her. From this moment on, it was just Sarah and her father. The two had a great connection, but it could never completely replace the love Sarah and her mother had for each other. Sarah's boyfriend and her dad got on very well from the first moment they met. Her dad had come to see him as a son of his own. The two supported the same football teams, so they would often visit games together. But still, there was this nagging feeling that Sarah had. She was sad that her mom would never be able to meet her boyfriend. Sarah's boyfriend had a quirky habit. He loved to impersonate people on the TV. He would do their voices and mimic their movements. Coincidentally, this was also something that Sarah fondly remembered her mother doing. She knew for certain that her mom would have loved her boyfriend. Sarah and her boyfriend had grown up in the same neighborhood in Australia, but they had not met until a year ago. They had completely different groups of friends and had attended different schools. They were both great students, and both were adored by their teachers. One day, Sarah was over at her boyfriend's house. The two still lived with their parents, so her boyfriend's mother was also around. A lovely woman, she would always pamper Sarah whenever she came to visit. But what she did on this particular visit would change everything. Sarah's boyfriend was pretty embarrassed when his mother brought up the sensitive subject. He didn't like looking back at his youth because he had always been a bit of a class clown. His mother told Sarah that there was one school picture on which her boyfriend had managed to get away with pulling a silly face. Sarah's boyfriend snatched the photo album out of his mother's hands before she was able to show the picture to Sarah. He didn't want his girlfriend to see this embarrassing picture. It took a lot of convincing for him to finally surrender the album to his girlfriend. Sarah flipped through the pages until her boyfriend's mother told her she had gotten to the right picture. She laughed out loud while pointing out her son's silly face. Sarah couldn't believe her eyes. She stared at the photo in complete shock, her mouth wide open. The mother of Sarah's boyfriend saw the shock on her face and asked Sarah if she was okay. Sarah said nothing. Now Sarah's boyfriend was also getting worried. He shook her shoulder, but got no reply. Sarah was staring at the picture. They noticed tears welling up in her eyes. Sarah's mother, when she was still alive, had loved kids. She had so much love for them that it extended past her own child. Lee's mom became a school teacher so she could share the love she felt with other children. She worked at an elementary school in the area until her death. And her students loved her back. She was the favorite teacher of many kids. Sarah wasn't the only kid who missed her when she passed away. Pretty much the whole elementary school was in mourning when they lost the popular teacher. Sarah had been staring at the photo album for minutes on end, with tears streaming down her face. Her boyfriend and his mother didn't know what to do. Finally she moved. Sarah pointed at something on the page, while still remaining silent. The person Sarah was pointing at wasn't her boyfriend, who was making a silly face. Although this was the reason why they had started looking at the photograph in the first place, this wasn't the focus of Sarah's attention. No, she was pointing at someone else. My mom. She finally screamed. Oh my God. That is my mom. Her face turned from shock to melancholy as a smile appeared on it. She was pointing straight at the elementary school teacher in the top left corner of the photo. He too was now in shock. He stared at his former elementary school teacher and could see the obvious resemblance. This was unbelievable. He remembered this being his absolute favorite teacher during his time in school. Her death had been heart-rending. This unbelievable discovery meant he had met Sarah's mom. She had always been so sad that he would never meet her mom. Sarah had been so fond of her mother. She always talked about all the fun moments the two had together. Now, against all odds, it turned out he had actually met her. It took a while to process this discovery, but in the end Sarah was very happy that her mom had indeed met her boyfriend. And according to his stories, the two had gotten on pretty well too. She had been his favorite teacher. Sarah was over the moon. Sometimes things just fall into place, as if they are part of the same puzzle. Was this a coincidence or was this the universe doing its thing? Sarah didn't know, but in the end it didn't matter. She no longer had to be sad that her mom would never meet her lover. Because she had.